What's up, guys? Today we're going over the new dungeon rocket launcher, the No Comfort, and be going over all of its extremely unique roles, testing their DPS, comparing it to a few other things in the game, and overall seeing if this is the new DPS king in Destiny 2. And yeah, this thing is so unique, easily one of the most unique rockets they've ever made, if not weapons in general, with the perks it has on it. So starting off, how do you get this weapon? Well, from the dungeon. We farmed it in the second encounter, which is the first boss. One person holds CP, drop you in, swap to the character you want to farm on, rinse and repeat. And in my SMG video, I think I said you can farm all 4 weapons in this encounter, which we swear we've gotten the wayframe from this, but since I made that video, we've farmed like another 6-ish hours or something like that, and we've not gotten another wayframe to drop from this encounter, so I don't think you can repeat farm the wayframe from this encounter, but we're pretty sure we did get it initially from this encounter, which is weird. But either way, farming this encounter, you can get the rocket, SMG, and the glaive, along with the gloves, chest piece, and class item. So 3 weapons, 3 armor pieces. And it's definitely the fastest encounter. Pretty easy to do. One person stays up top, the other 2 go down below. And that is pretty much it. And once again, we use rockets to one phase. You can also use Legend of Accuracy. Whatever works for you, works. So jumping into the rocket review. It's going to be a stasis rocket with a 25 RPM aggressive frame. And on the left, there's going to be really only one perk worth mentioning. You could maybe use tracking and impulse amplifier, but really the star is going to be Envious Assassin, which was one of my favorite perks in Lightfall, and now it's on a rocket. And this rocket, like other rockets, has a 1 mag, and with the way Envious Assassin works, it's going to go up to 1.5 the base mag, and 0.5s round up in this game. And with it being a heavy weapon, you only need 3 kills to get to 2, then you only need 8 to get to 3, so it's actually very easy to do and very realistic to set up for any boss fight in the game, compared to a primary special requiring double the amount of kills. This is only 3 and 8, so very easy to do and get to that 3 mag. And once you get the kills with a different weapon, pull out your rocket, you'll have the increased mag size, you can stow it, and it'll be ready for the boss fight. So that means with Envious Assassin, we'll be able to shoot off 3 rockets in a row, but that is not it. Pair that with the new origin trait on the dungeon weapons, the Restoration Ritual, where getting a revive or getting a finisher final blow will ready 1 emergency reload. And that doesn't only work for the rocket, it works for any dungeon weapon you have on. So let's say I get final blow with the SMG out. As you see, I have the emergency reload, which means once I run out of ammo, it'll just reload the weapon for me once. But it will also proc it for my rocket. So now with that combined with Envious Assassin, we can actually shoot off 4 in a row without needing to reload, which is obviously really cool and very crazy, and has huge implications for the DPS of this weapon. So for DPS testing in this video with this rocket, I'm going to shoot off 8. So the first 4 with no reloads. So the first 4 with no reloads, the next 4 with reloads. And that's going to look something like this. The first 4 taking only 3.3 seconds. They come very quickly. Then we have to reload 4 times to get the next 4 off. 12.15 seconds. And this rocket's base reserves is 7, and if you put on 1 reserve, it'll go up to 8, put it on 2, it'll go up to 9, and this is one of the weapons that does work with 3, going up to 10. So it can get the same amount of total rockets as something like Hothead with Field Prep, which is pretty good. So once again, depending on what you're using, 7 all the way up to 10. So starting to look at the damage on this weapon, legendary rockets right now do the same damage to a major like Carl, and to bosses like the Strike boss. So just to make it easier myself, I'll be using Carl in this video because their damage is the same. So the first damage perk I want to look at in the right will be Collective Action, which I've gone over in my SMG video. I assume that this would be the same percent for all weapons in the game because of the fact that it was so low at 20% for our primary. But on this rocket, as you see, it's only going to be a 11% buff, which is obviously not good, right? So 11% buff results in a DPS of 100 and almost 70k for 4. Then over 91 for 8, which is very high for a rocket, right? And just a weapon in general. But there's going to be way better things to use on this rocket. So looking at chill clip, am I just forgetting something? I feel like chill clip rockets were good at one point, and now it takes 2 to freeze them, which means the 3rd shot will shatter them. And the Shatter didn't even do that much damage, so unless I'm just using this wrong and I forget how to use chill clip rockets, this definitely is not the best option in the right. There'll be definitely way better ones. So instead, looking at something like the bipod, which is a new perk I haven't tested on my channel yet, it's gonna do a lot of things for you. The first one is it's gonna have a 2 mag now, and it's gonna hold way more ammo. So the base reserves now goes up to 12, so plus 5. Then if we put on 1, 2, and 3 reserves, it will go up 1 rocket per reserve to a total of 15. So just plus 5 at every single stage compared to not bipod rocket. But the trade-off will be you'll have literally 0 blast radius, less damage, and I think slower reload. So how much less damage do you have? Well, as you see right here, quite a lot. It's going to be 40% less damage. And I don't have a roll with bipod plus envious, but you should be able to shoot off 5 in a row plus 1 with the emergency reload, meaning 6. Then after that, you'll have to reload. So I did my best to kind of like edit what that would look like together, and doing 6 and 12 for this because, you know, more rockets. And that would result in a lot lower DPS of 81.5 and just under 60,000 for 12. So definitely lower DPS than just using any other perk in the right. For example, Explosive Light, where picking up an orb will give us a buff. We can get up to ×6 with just normal Explosive Light. And that will be a 25% buff to 6 rockets, which means over 4 DPS is going to be extremely high at almost 190. Then over 8, still very high at 97.6. So that is obviously extremely strong. And finally, the last perk is going to be Bait and Switch, the one that came out with the Cataclysmic, where dealing damage with all equipped weapons will give this weapon a big damage buff. So we first have to shoot them with our 2R weapons and hit 1 rocket to then proc the perk, which will hit for 35% more damage. And Bait and Switch will be a 35% buff, by far the highest on any rocket. And usually Bait and Switch on a rocket wouldn't be that great because you couldn't really take too big advantage of it. But with this being able to shoot off 4 in a row before you have to start reloading, we should be able to get off at least 6, if not 7 on most boss fights under Bait and Switch. So just going with 6 Bait and Switch rockets out of the 8, the DPS would be over 191,000 for 4 and still over 103,000 for 8. So by far the highest burst and sustained DPS in this video so far. So just comparing that to the Hothead with Field Prep and Clown Cartridge, looking at the same 4 and 8 rockets, 4 will take roughly 4.7 seconds. Then the 8 will take a bit longer at 11.5 seconds. So the DPS of 4 is way lower than that of the Cold Comfort. And 8 isn't as far behind, but is still a decent chunk behind that of the Stasis Rocket, along with the total damage output being quite a bit lower, roughly 300k less than that of the Bait and Switch Cold Comfort, with just 6 Bait and Switch rockets of the 10. And these numbers will just grow even further apart when you add in someone shooting a G-Horn for you, because the G-Horn rockets themselves get buffed by rocket perks. So with Bait and Switch, the G-Horn impact and explosive number will go up by 35%. Compared to that of just the Hothead with no damage perk, the G-Horn is going to be doing a lot less damage, which means the G-Horn for the Bait and Switch rockets will be adding 127k, while with Hothead or just your normal rocket with no perk, it'll be 94.4, which means percent-wise, it will still stay the same, but the gap will obviously grow. So over 4 rockets, the Cold Comfort is 82% better, over 8 still 20, and for total damage output, the Cold Comfort will be 21% better than the Hothead, with or without a G-Horn. So yeah, a lot of numbers going on in this video, but just the fact that you can shoot all 4 rockets in a row with no reloads gives it such a huge initial burst of DPS that just makes it so no other rocket can really catch up to. And pair that with both Explosive Light or Bait and Switch, 2 of the best rocket perks. This rocket is for sure the real deal, and not only the best burst DPS weapon in the game probably, but also one of the best overall DPS weapons. So yeah, I would definitely say the Cold Comfort is 100% the new DPS King in Destiny 2. I have not tested the Apex Predator yet because I haven't really been home almost at all this week. So I'll definitely be making a video on that soon, and we'll compare it to this. But this seems to be the new best and the new standard, so it's 100% worth grinding. And the thing about this role is it's really not even that hard to set up. The Envious Assassin only takes 8 kills. Bait and Switch is pretty easy to proc, pair it with something like Wither Horde or Izangi's Burden to add even more damage to the combo. And overall, this scene is just insanely good. Let me know what you think about it down below. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.